Hello wonderful person! This is Anton, and in today's video we're going to be going on a different kind of adventure. It's going to be an adventure of Earth. We're going to explore some of the most incredible places on Earth using Google Earth, and we're going to take a look at them. I'm going to show you where they are, and one day you might be able to even visit them in real life. Anyway, welcome to What the Math. So one of the reasons I wanted to do this is because, our planet has so much awesome stuff on it. And obviously not just on it, there's a lot of awesome stuff underneath the planet and also underwater. But Google Earth allows you to actually explore some of the coolest destinations that you didn't really know existed. And today I wanted to actually showcase some of them. I basically kind of scoured the internet just looking for the coolest stuff people have found. Unfortunately, because Google Earth, or maybe fortunately because Google Earth gets updated every year, these are new 2018 pictures. They are not previous pictures that don't exist anymore. So some of the older stuff doesn't actually exist, but we're going to start with something just relatively cool that you may have not known was out there. And let's start with maybe the place that is a little bit more related to the channel itself. We're going to start with the Meteor Crater. This is at the destination right here you see on the screen, and it's actually in the United States, and it's an absolutely marvelously beautiful crater. And the cool thing about the Google Earth here is that you can actually do it, or you can visit the crater in completely 3D, in 3 dimensions, and you actually get to see the walls of the crater. You get to see the location of the epicenter, where I believe there is some sort of a possibly house or something, and also the depth of the crater itself is pretty visible here as well. So this is absolutely marvelous, and this is just the beginning. So we're going to go and explore a few places, and I'm just going to give you the locations for them in the description below. You can go check them out as well. And here we go. Let's go to the second location. So this was, I believe this is, where is this? Canyon Diablo in, I don't even know what state this is. Arizona, of course it's in Arizona. Next part is a location that actually looks like something from a different planet. Like, you may have not even known this existed. This is called Laguna, Colorada. Colorada stands for color. And this is in Bolivia, and well, the picture itself kind of already explains it to you, but basically here there are a series of really beautiful lakes that are, you can kind of see them here. If I zoom out, oh, there we go. If I zoom out, you see all of them at once. They're all different color, and they all have different composition because of the volcanic eruptions or volcanic emissions that happen here over time. And basically each of the lakes possesses completely different color. And altogether, if you actually look at it from like this angle, it just looks like something not from this planet. And this lake specifically is basically all yellow, and that's just something you don't see very often. So this is a pretty cool place to explore. And here you can even place your little person and go into the street view and just see what people have taken as photos from this particular location. So this is kind of what it looks like in real life. Maybe not as yellow as I imagine, I guess, but it is pretty different color. And actually another location that doesn't look like it is on from this planet is the infamous Uluru. This is the biggest rock on Earth, right in the middle of Australia. This tremendously large rock that basically is no longer accessible to people. It used to be accessible, but no, not anymore. Mostly because people were not particularly polite to this rock. They were leaving trash all over the place, so the government now forbids people to come here because it's technically a national treasure, but it's also some sort of a holy symbol for the local native tribes. But very beautiful rock, very large, and you can also see some of the photos that people have taken even from the top here. But let's actually just see maybe something a little bit from a distance, just so you get a kind of a perspective of a person standing next to it. And here we go. So it's a very massive object. It's actually just indescribable how big it is, and this is just one piece of rock. Anyway, so this is the next part, and you can check it out in Google Earth as well. And let's go to another really interesting destination. And this is actually back in US again. And honestly, just looking at this really blew my mind when I first saw it. So basically this is some sort of a pond used by a company to produce some sort of potassium product. I don't exactly know what's going on here, but the actual composition of this shot, and this is like this is a real location, just creates this absolutely incredibly gorgeous, such a beautiful locale that's actually right here on Earth. And once again, you can take a look at the street view if you wanted to, but I'm just going to leave it here. This is a 3D view of this absolutely incredibly beautiful location. Now, these were so far more of a natural, or I guess natural looking places. Let's go and take a look at some of the stuff that people have made that is actually just visible from space, or extremely large or extremely beautiful, starting with this first thing that I'm going to show you. And this is actually, you're about to see it in a few seconds. This is right here in Argentina, and it's actually a forest that was basically shaped as a guitar. Now, no particular reason, it's basically just a guitar-shaped forest. You can see it from space, you can see it from an airplane, and it looks like a guitar. It's basically just kind of cool. Speaking of cool, there's another cool thing someone made in Japan, and it's actually a place where they have a lot of really cool things, but I thought this was pretty awesome. It's a Batman symbol visible from an airplane, and once again, no idea why it's there. Unfortunately, there's no 3D view, so we can't really see what else they have there. But this is pretty awesome. Japan is actually a place where you can find a lot of huge sculptures. They used to have this humongous sculpture of one of the robots from Gundam, and you could actually find it in Tokyo. But unfortunately, now it's under construction, so if you go there, there's really nothing there. But it was very, very big and visible pretty much from everywhere as well. Alright, moving on to the next unusual thing made by humans. This is called Atacama Giant. This is in Chile, and this is actually something that was made like long time ago. This is not something new. It's a little bit difficult to see it in this particular picture, but you can kind of see the eyes here. And let me see if I can rotate this a little bit. We can try to rotate our position. There we go. Eyes, mouth, and some hair and hands. This was made by the native community, but like hundreds and possibly even thousands of years ago. And there's actually a few more similar pictures in this area. A lot of them are normally referred to as the Nazca lines. You can check them out in Google View. But this particular image has unknown origins. We don't really know why people made them. What was the purpose and why was it in this particular location? So this is kind of a mystery, but also kind of cool. But even today, people continuously make different shapes that are visible from basically air and space in some sense. Here's one from the United Kingdom, from a place near Edinburgh, I think. And basically it's a lion. And some people refer to it as the Lion King. I don't really see the Lion King, I just see the lion. And this is called the Lion Point. Really, really large lion that's basically visible from an airplane. Not so much from space, but definitely from the airplane. And I think this is actually used as a kind of a promotion for this town. They just basically wanted to create something cool to attract people. Maybe because there's a zoo here. What is interesting though is that this actually became a fad for many companies, and many companies like KFC and Coca Cola actually created these tremendously large advertisements that you could see from the air or from space. A lot of them have been actually removed by Google, but there's one that's left. That's one that I was still able to recover even in 2018. It's the Coca Cola ad that you can see right here. This is basically made in, I guess, sand, whatever this ground is, and you can kind of still see it a little bit. A much bigger one was by KFC, but I think it's gone now. It doesn't actually exist anymore. Coca Cola is still around though. And there's also a lot of different mysteries out there, and some shapes we don't really know what they are and what they mean. Like, for example, for the longest time people didn't really know what this was, and then we found out that apparently China made this replica of an area of disputed territory between India and China, and they put it right here. But this is not what I wanted to show you. This is something we still don't know what that is. This is also in China. There are these unusual patterns in Gobi Desert that people have found on Google Maps. they look like this. And it doesn't really matter if it's 3D or not, they basically look like this. Some people speculate it's some sort of a atmospheric detector, possibly some sort of antenna, but there's another one that you can find in this location as well, and it looks somewhat similar to what you just saw. Not exactly the same, but similar. So what this is, nobody really knows except for maybe some Chinese government officials that live in this area, but it's a mystery. And if you do know what this is, post it in the comments below, because people have been basically posting all kinds of conspiracy theories about what these lines represent. Here's another mystery. This is from a location in a different country. We're going to go back to US here. US actually has a lot of mysterious symbols. And here is one that you can see that seems to resemble some sort of a sun, or maybe a six-sided star, but it's really more of a solar object. And from what I understand, this is possibly a sculpture. Someone made this art exhibition, and there's actually quite a lot of these sculptures that are visible from the air, made by people in the last few decades. But this one specifically is not really known to me. I don't really know what they try to represent here. There's actually another location in US that has this, not so far from this actually, it has this triangle. It's called the Nevada Desert Triangle, and it's basically, once again, an unusual shape that just kind of is there with no reason whatsoever. And there's another structure in New Mexico, but this structure we actually may have figured out what it was all about. So right here, if you zoom into, there it is. If you zoom in right here, there's two circles with like little triangles in them. Turns out that this is an area that belongs to Church of Scientology, and it's most likely some sort of a symbol that the Scientologists use for, okay, this might sound funny, but basically it's a symbol for the spirits arriving to Earth to kind of have a location to land and feel safe, I guess. In other words, it's some sort of a guide or guiding lines for the spirits arriving to Earth after some sort of Armageddon. I'm not particularly familiar with Scientology. I don't really know exactly what they believe in, even though I did watch that South Park episode. But nevertheless, this is kind of created by them. So in some sense, it's not really that cool. This, however, is cool. This is actually a sculpture that someone made in Egypt called the Desert Breath. It's a little bit difficult to see in 2018 edition of Google Maps, but basically, and there's actually a whole documentary and also basically an entire site dedicated to explaining what this sculpture is all about. It looks a lot more beautiful in person, as you can see. Google Earth didn't really do a good justice in 2018 edition. Anyway, so this is right here in Egypt, and another thing you can find here in Africa is actually this memorial that is also visible from air. It's dedicated to the crash of an airplane, actually. Now, once again, kind of difficult to see, specifically here, because I think there was some sort of a sandstorm more or less recently. But as you can see, there's an airplane and a compass that's kind of visible. Now, this particular location is known as Memorial of Flight 772, and this is an actual photo of what it looks like. Basically, there was a plane crash that killed a lot of people. And it happened right here, and so someone, well, not someone, but family of the survivors decided to build this memorial, and it kind of looks like this from the air. If you ever fly over this area, this is actually what you would see. Now, one of the coolest things, though, that you can find on Google Earth has got to be this. This is, once again, back in US. This is an airbase, and this particular airbase, which actually even has 3D models of airplanes, is also known as the resting place, or basically the graveyard for a lot of aircraft. Now I'm gonna try to find the angle that I'm looking for here. There we go. The airplane cemetery. Now what's cool about this is that this actually looks absolutely incredible in 2 dimensions, not in 3 dimensions. If you look at it from the top, all of this is basically retired airplanes. And what Google Earth allows you to do is zoom into individual ones and actually explore the three-dimensional perspective here with actual models, almost as if they were real right in front of you. So this is a pretty awesome place to visit in Google Earth, with quite a lot of different airplanes that have been retired here over the years. Now, US actually has another really interesting, unusual system related to airplanes, and you actually can totally find a lot of these unusual symbols out there. We're going to go to another place, and this is close to Edwards Air Force Base, and you will actually discover a lot of unusual signs that you can see from the air here. Now, I'm going to try to find at least one of them. Let's actually look around, and we'll be able to possibly talk a little bit more about why they are there. So okay, so here's something you can see from the air here. Notice how there is this compass here, and there's these lines that seem to indicate something, and also a lot of other lines and some sort of measurements that you can actually see from the air. So that's one thing you can see here. So the actual unusual shapes that are basically human-made. But the more specific one I was looking for is maybe a little bit farther away, actually. This right here. Now, this has an entire really cool story behind it. And these are all over the US. So these targets were used in the 60s and in the 50s for the US spy aircraft to basically calibrate their cameras. They would fly over these targets, including the ones you just saw in Edwards Air Force Base, and they would use their cameras to look at this object and then calibrate them in the air just so that they can actually take perfect pictures later on when they get to their destination. So if you ever fly over US and you see these unusual markings, like the one you just saw here, or the one you saw in the Edwards Air Force Base, or even just a bunch of squares that looked like some sort of a UFO or alien markings on the ground, it's most likely something that was used by the spy airplanes back in the days to calibrate their cameras. It's really cool when you think about it, but maybe not as cool as aliens, of course. And let's finish this video with some of the more natural locations. There are definitely a lot of human-made things out there that you can actually see from the air and from space. And if you actually know more, do post them in the comments below so we can explore them in the future videos. But let's actually maybe take a look at two natural locations that are absolutely amazing. So one of them is in the Philippines. It's somewhere right here. So this is an island that has a lake on it, that has an island on it, that has a lake on it, that has an island on it. And this is pretty cool. It's basically an island on the lake, on an island, on a lake, on an island, in the ocean. Pretty awesome. The last location I'm going to take a look at is actually one of the so-called open volcanic lakes, or lava lakes, that is. And it's on the island of Ambrym right here in Vanuatu. And if you kind of zoom in, you'll actually start noticing that the volcano here possesses a lake that's basically all lava. There's only 6 of them on the entire planet, and the one I'm looking for is right here. Now, it's kind of difficult to see it in 2018 version. However, we have pictures that people took from this location, and it's actually a place that I would love to visit one day. This is definitely a place that would be absolutely terrifying. So you're inside the volcano right now, and if you turn around and if you move a little bit closer to the edge, you'll see there it is. There's that lava lake. Now this is a pretty interesting place to visit. It's one of the few very active lava lakes, and it's definitely a place that you don't see very often, really anywhere. Like I said, there's only 6 of them. The other one that I can think of that's really popular is actually back in Africa. It's in Ethiopia, and it's called Erta. Unfortunately, right now, this place is a little bit dangerous to visit due to some terrorist attacks that recently happened. But it used to be one of the coolest places to visit because people refer to it as the, I believe it's called the entrance to hell, because it's ridiculously hot, and because it's full of these volcanoes that are all over the place. And some of the coolest volcanic lakes are actually right here in this region. So let's see if we can maybe see one of them from the street view here. And there we go. Look at how beautiful and incredibly terrifying this is. This is definitely another place I would love to visit when it gets a little bit safer. So anyway, so that's all I wanted to explore in this video. I wanted to show you some of the coolest locations you can find on Google Earth. And if you know of more, please post them in the description below so we can maybe talk a little bit more about some other places. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, don't forget to subscribe, share this video with someone who enjoys exploring the world, the universe, the space, and obviously Earth. I'll see you tomorrow, space out, and as always, bye bye.